Good morning to everybody. Welcome to the Love Notions Live today. I'm Tessa. Make sure that you drop a comment in our chat right now and let us know where you're streaming from this morning. And tell me what your weather is like. Today in the Chicagoland area, it was chilly this morning. I think it was like 40 something this morning, but it's supposed to get up to 73 today. So that is a total win. I'm gonna let you guys drop a few comments in the chat here, and I'm gonna just make sure everything's set up correctly. And I can't wait to start sewing with you. Just tweaking my setup here, make sure that we've got a full view. I've got so much on my table right now that I feel, we talked yesterday about things being like, are you a messy sewist or are you like a more precise and careful? And I definitely am getting into the messy territory right now. So I just wanted to get things set up, and lots going on in my head right now, but I can't wait to see and sew with you today. So let's see, where are we streaming from today? Oh, thanks, Jess. She said I look cute today. Thank you so much. I am wearing an Olympia top. This is actually one of the first top versions of the Olympia that we started out with. The pattern had a bit of an evolution as we put those add-ons in, and this was one of my early samples, and I just love this color. So thank you. Thanks, Jess. So where are we all streaming in from today? We're in the Chicagoland area here, and our weather is supposed to get up to 72, 73 degrees today. So, let me just take a look in our chat here. Good morning from Missouri, Washington. I'm seeing some Vancouver Island, Ontario. This will be fun to watch you. Mitzi, thanks for joining us. I hope it's fun. I hope that today is just a chill, fun day of sewing. In the comments, make sure you let me know if there's anything that you're having trouble viewing, or if you can't hear very well. I've kind of like evolved in our sound setup, so I hope that everything is progressing well and that everybody can hear and see and get a look at what's happening in the midst of the chaos here on my cutting table. So I'm seeing Scotland. What? In Scotland. Hi, Shelley. Welcome. You've had today we've had 4 seasons: rain, hail, wind, and sunshine. That's a lot. That's a lot to do. And I love a changing season, so that's exciting. Good morning from Mississippi, Michigan, Washington, Renton, Washington. Hi, Patricia. Did we see you at Sew Expo? Because that was very close to where we were for Sew Expo. And actually, that is the city I was born in. My family moved all over, and when I was born, my family lived on the West Coast near Seattle, and I was born in a hospital in Renton. I think we lived near Kent, but that's where the hospital was. So welcome from Washington. Judy, thanks. I love this color. I think this is a good color for me. This is a really lightweight sweater knit. I did have to put like a tank on underneath here because it would be way too thin by itself. But again, this is the Olympia top, which was a just added on pattern add-on for the Olympia that we have had in our collection forever. And so that's one of the things that you can count on at Love Notions, that we're always evolving and adding and giving lots of updates for our patterns. Everything's like, I guess, kind of like alive here. It's one of the beauties of having digital patterns, is that you can consistently add to it. And I think that's why it makes us a good value if you're looking for sewing patterns. So that's really great to hear from everybody. Remember that the more comments that you leave in the chat, the greater chance you have of getting one of our fun prizes. And today our live is all about sewing a capsule wardrobe for spring. That's sort of the focus of what we're doing today. We're using a couple of patterns in the Love Notions collection in order to do that. So I'm going to be sewing up a few things, and the more comments that you leave in the chat about anything, respond to one of our questions, tell us, where you're sewing from, what's on your table right now, what's in your mind as far as sewing. The more comments that you leave in the chat, the more chances that you get to win one of our prizes. And I have a couple of those ready to ship out today from our past lives. This is a series that we're doing all week long in honor of our 40% off site-wide sale. At Love Notions, we do digital garment sewing patterns, and those of you in the chat, let everybody know what you think about Love Notions sewing patterns, if there are some that are to do not be missed, especially for newbies to this company. And so everything at Love Notions right now on our site is 40% off all of our digital products. That's all of our digital patterns, all of our digital courses, besides the newest pattern, which is Muse blouse. So besides that pattern, everything else digital is 40% off. If you've already shopped the sale, tell me what you have shopped already in the comments below. Tell me what you've added in, or give some suggestions for people about what they absolutely have to pick up in the sale today. And remember, it only is going to be on for the next 3 days. So today, Thursday, and Friday, and then it's over. So we don't do site-wide sales very often. Take advantage while you can. And that's sort of one of the reasons why we're doing this live event, is to talk a little bit about how great sewing is, remind everybody of those patterns that they need to pick up, and just get some fun energy going for the spring. So I'm just gonna take a look at your comments real quick. Yeah, capsule sewing. I'm so glad you're doing a capsule too. It's such a great way to just add more useful things into your wardrobe, because it's all gonna work together. So yeah, good morning to everybody. Oh, Shelly, I'm glad that you're here. Thank you for all the compliments on my top, guys. Thank you so much. I'm seeing a lot of people who've been familiar with us. Thank you for sharing. Llama Liz, thanks for sharing with your sister-in-law. We really appreciate a recommendation from a close contact, and that makes a huge difference for us. Thank you so much. So thank you so much for all of your comments. Let me go through what you can get if you leave a comment today. I'm going to go randomly pick through the comments. I'm going to do one pick of the comments live today in the stream. And then for those of you who will be watching later after this posts, you can also make as many comments as you want after it posts, and I'm going to pick a few. I picked a few yesterday, and they actually wanted digital patterns, so I didn't make a bundle for them, but these are the bundles that I made for our first live. I have this one. I think this one was for Jennifer. I've got some I'd Rather Be Sewing socks, some thread, some labels, some Kylie and the Machine labels, some pins, a Largo Cargo printed sewing pattern, and then I just stuck in a little fabric that we had that I thought would be great with the Largo Cargos. And then I also have a bundle here as one of the prizes for a past winner. Again, something like this could be sent to you if you drop some comments in here. So the more comments that you enter in, the more chances that you have. We've got one of our fun seam gauges. People loved that seam gauge. It has a special part that really prominently displays the 3/8 seam allowance, which is always hidden inside of those gauges. So she's got one of those, some labels, some cute socks that have pattern pieces on them from Kylie and the Machine. She asked for the Metra Blazer print pattern, and then we found some Ponte that I thought would be perfect for that. So I've got their labels all ready to go here, but I just wanted to show those to you, that could be a prize that you get when you drop a comment in here during our live stream. So thank you so much for commenting and engaging with us. We're a small business, and all of the ways that you guys interact with us just really helps a ton. So thank you so much for sewing with us. So today we are going to be working through the Lennox top. And I might have to mess a little bit with my mic because my phone, I'm a little worried about the charge on it, and so I might have to unplug the mic thing and then plug it into charge. So if we have an issue like that, I'll let you know. So hopefully everything stays okay. But we have this plan for our little capsule spring wardrobe. We're going to be tomorrow sewing up the Caprice skirt in this gorgeous cotton voile. This was from LA Finch Fabrics, and Jess can help out and give links to anybody in the comments as well. So if you have any questions about fabric or anything that we've got, I think Jess has some in the comments. And thank you so much for Jess. She's one of our admin on the Love Notions team here, and she's popping in. She is on the East Coast, so thanks so much for joining us. And Jess, you're a star. Thank you. So we are going to be doing this as our bottom tomorrow and Friday. If you have a preference for time for the next 2 lives, could you drop that in the comments too? If you want to be able to join this early, mid-morning time is pretty good for me, but I'm curious what everybody else feels like. Let's see, I have already talked about yesterday the Lennox top and dress. So this is the Lennox sewing pattern. And so the pattern is able to be sewn as a dress in knee length or in a midi length with a slit. And it also is able to be sewn as just a regular length top, and then also as a crop. So I thought pairing the skirt of the Caprice with a crop would be really cute. So I sewed one yesterday just to add to my collection. I could not decide between sewing the yellow rib knit that I have here cut out, that's what we're sewing today, and the gray, and so I just said we're gonna do both. So I'm gonna have 2 tops to be able to pair with my Caprice skirt. So I have done a little bit of pattern prep already. You guys helped me with that yesterday. In the comments, can you please tell me what is your tips and tricks yesterday we talked about tips and tricks for cutting out your patterns. I want you in the comments right now, and I'm gonna come back to them in a second. In the comments right now, tell me, what are your tips and tricks for assembly? Like, I know that's a big question, but what are some rules that you have as far as like organizing your pattern pieces or getting things sewn up in a strategic way? What are your tips and tricks as far as pattern assembly? Not the cutting, not the prep part, but the actual assembly. What are those go-to strategies that you always like to use? Make sure that you put a comment below right now so that we can all learn from each other about this process. I have to tell you, I am not an expert. I will never say I'm an expert, but I've done this for about 7 years with Tammy, my sister, who is the pattern designer here, and I've learned a few things, but I have to say I'm like super nervous for today. I've never sewn live before. So any tips and tricks that you can give to me right now would be amazing. So definitely drop those tips and tricks for pattern assembly, just from construction to putting things together in a way that makes sense. Drop those in the comments, and please be patient with me today. I'm planning for this to end at 10:30, so just 1 hour, but I just want to just level set that I'm not an expert, and these are just things that I do out of, I don't know, expedience, I guess, and I hope that they make sense, but be kind, okay? So let's see, what do we have in the comments here as far as some tips and tricks? Thanks for giving your thoughts on the mornings and stuff too. Sherry says, oh, Sherry, hi Sherry, how are you? Sherry says, clip several pieces and serge at one time. That's a good tip. Let's see, cut everything out. Oh my goodness, we're getting comments so fast, I'm losing it. Cut everything out, leave it all over my table with the pattern till I need each piece. So that makes so much sense to me that you would leave the pattern pieces out and displayed so that you can easily access everything, especially if you need to come back and check like a notch point or something like that. That's really smart. keep your pattern and the fabric together. A lot of people are saying that. Let's see. You like the ironing cover, Stephanie? I got that from somewhere on Etsy, I think. Tammy did when we moved into the workshop. Let's see. Yep, keep the pattern pieces all together in a zip bag. That's a good idea. Even like all of the project pieces, especially if you have to come back to it later, that makes a ton of sense. If a step is muddling my brain, go make a cuppa and come back. That's my favorite tip so far, is that sometimes it's good to just walk away for a second. Oh, thank you guys so much for all of these tips. This is wonderful. I can't wait to come back and look at these a little bit more carefully. So I have decided to sew the square neckline for my Lennox top. I'm also going to be doing the puff sleeve. And here are all my pattern pieces. We cut these out yesterday, so I hope that you saw yesterday's video so you could see each of the pattern pieces, but for Lennox there's just really not that many pattern pieces to have to cut through. It is a back, the fronts where we've got like our princess seams are, so we've got the fronts here and here. We have our center front, and then we have a band here and then a band that goes all the way around the back. It's really not a huge amount of fabric. This was less than a yard. I think this was 7/8 of a yard to get this sewn up, or to get it cut out of our fabric. So just not a ton of sewing steps here. But I think one step that people are gonna have questions about is sewing this square neckline. And the process for this square neckline, as well as the sweetheart option for Lennox, are gonna be really similar. So I really wanna show how this overlap happens today, okay? So let's get into talking about our pattern assembly. So I have back here, I'm gonna check my view here. Okay, so I have laid out, and hopefully you can see these things. I'm gonna turn my iron on, make sure it's all ready to go. I have laid out my bands. So I have one long band. Hopefully you can see that. Let me make sure that my head is in this. All right, so I have one long band, and on it I have marked the center point of my band, as well as the notches that were already lined up on the pattern piece. And I also, on my long band, and you'll see this later on in the pattern progression, but I've also marked 1 inch away from the edge of the short end here. So on both sides, and I just took a little fabric marker and marked 1 inch. And this is gonna be an important marker so that we get this all lined up on our pattern correctly. All right, thanks Carol. I hope I can do it too. So I've got that one long band. That's the band that's gonna go around the back of the neckline. And then I have my center front band that's going to go across that panel, that front panel. And so I have these all folded in half, and I have pressed these, okay? The other thing that I did, and I took some advice from some people yesterday. I'm gonna move this here. I took some advice from some people yesterday, and I put painter's tape on the back of my fabric because this fabric is very similar from the right side and the wrong side. So somebody said that this would be a good tip. I went through and did it for all of my pattern pieces, and I'm really glad that I did. So thank you for whoever shared that tip yesterday. All right, let me make sure that I've got all of your questions Some people are talking about raising the sweetheart neckline. Super easy to do. So I know that this is the square neckline. This would be what the front looks like. But all you would really need to do is add length wherever you would like it, because you know it's straight, right? Mostly straight. And you would just add the length that you want, and then you can raise this up. And the pattern pieces on the the side where the princess seams are, those side pieces in the front, there's a marking that you'll just need to adjust. So like however much you increase the length of the center front, then you would just adjust where the placement is on that part. So raising this up, really easy. I think I actually have a video about that. You can look in the YouTube library and see. Let's see. Okay, talking about the grain line on knits. I think people don't realize it's important for the drape. Oh yeah, it's definitely important to get the grain line correct. It's all of the pattern pieces have that grain line part. When you are folding it in half, somebody said yesterday, you know, line it up, fold it in half, and then put a piece of tape there to keep it all straight as you lay it out. We definitely could go into way more talking about grain line, but for any new sewists, please make sure that the grain line follows the direction that's indicated on the pattern piece for the whole pattern piece, and there's no shifting inside of that. So we can definitely go into that more in another video. Okay, so is painter's tape safe on all fabric? I think so. I mean, I guess you would have to do some testing and see. I definitely wouldn't wash it on there, but I think it would probably be fine. So let's go ahead and do our next step, which is going to simply be to take your short band and align it to the front of the center front piece. There's sort of like a little bit of a curve. You see the curve? And you're just going to take raw edge to raw edge. And this will need to be stretched just a tiny bit. So I'm just going to clip that in place. And we're going to be sewing this on with a straight stitch. And for the purposes of today, I'm probably not going to be serging as much as I normally would, just because of time. But I am going to be using my regular sewing machine to stitch this center front band into place. And you'll notice that the center front panel piece is just a little bit wider than our band. So we're going to stretch the band to fit just a tiny bit as we are sewing. Okay, so let me go over and sew that, and I'll bring it back and show you. I am going to iron this, but just so you can see what that looks like, here is the center band, and then if you fold that up, you can see that that's attached there. I'm going to iron it, press it here, and then fold it up and press. If you want a more step-by-step, slowed down, complete view of this sewing process, there is another one on YouTube. I sewed the dress version in a really pretty double brush poly floral, and you can reference that. So here's what I got. And if I had all the time in the world, I'd probably go through here and serge this too, but we don't. We've got limited time here on our video. So I'm gonna just be referencing the pattern. One of the things that's great about our printed patterns is these booklets. So that's one thing you don't get to have when you are sewing our printed home views. The booklet, I think, is just absolutely like very, very valuable. So we're on, if you're following along, we're on the page 8 of the tutorial booklet. And our next step is to just set this to the side. And I'm going to get out my front panels. I'm so glad that I marked which is the right side and which is the wrong side. And then we're going to get out the back. So this is the back. And again, this is the wrong side, this is the right side. So I'm going to match these up right sides together. And I'm going to be sewing these at the shoulder seams. I'm just going to pin them in place right now. And I'll show you what that looks like. So right sides together, the back to the front side pieces. It's really easy to get these pieces mixed up if you, especially if you have a fabric that looks very similar from one side to the other. And it's very easy to get them switched, you know, like the right-hand side versus the left-hand side. So be really careful as you put those pieces together. So we've got the back and the fronts lined up, right sides together. And I'm going to stitch this shoulder seam right here. Let me see if there's any questions. Thanks for all the comments, everybody. Remember, the more comments that you leave, the more chances that you'll have to win one of our prizes here. I know that you guys have a wealth of information, so thanks for dropping that down into the comments here. And let's do a comment for the group. As I sew these shoulder seams and get ready to do the neckline, tell me, what is one thing lately you have been struggling with as far as sewing? I know there's a lot of different ways that you can answer that question, from fabric to motivation to resources. Tell me in the comments here, as I sew up my shoulder seams, what's one thing you have struggled with as far as sewing? And the more comments that you leave inside of our live stream today, the more chances that you'll win one of our prizes. All right, what am I seeing here? Real struggle is finding appropriate fabrics. Absolutely. Especially now. That's really hard. I'm just gonna be sewing the seams for my shoulder seams open. This is, again, not something I normally do because I usually use a serger, but I just thought it'd be easier to do everything on the sewing machine today as much as possible, just to keep things streamlined a little bit. I feel like we would go into noon time probably if I did stitching a straight line and then going over it with the serger. So I'm just gonna press these shoulder seams. So this is what it looks like right now. Hope that you can see this. Struggle with measurements and fit. I struggle with adjusting the pattern for my height. Lots of adjustments. Pattern adjustments are hard. Once you get it though, and you realize how it goes together, it is very satisfying to be able to make those. Once you've got those pattern adjustments figured out for your body or for the model that you've got, that becomes a lot easier. Okay. Oh, thank you so much for all these comments. Feels like, you know what? Finding fabric for sure seems like it takes forever when ordering it online. I miss being able to run up to the fabric store and buy instantly. Me too. I struggle turning the neck onto the shoulder. Oh, Michelle, you said I struggle joining and turning the neck to the shoulder on Olympia. Take a look at one of the most recent videos that I posted to the Love Notions channel. It has a full collar shawl sewing tutorial. I think you might find the view there helpful as you're doing that. Olympia looks hard. That's what I'm wearing right now. Olympia looks hard, but it's actually like once you put it all together and you get those pivot points right, I think you'll really like it. Time. Definitely. I wish we could sell time. Okay. Oh, thank you so much for all these comments. So how do I usually finish seams? Usually what I would do for sewing a seam is to do just my regular straight stitch on the sewing machine, and then I take it over to my serger to finish. That is my tried and true method, but just as far as time today and moving the camera around and all that stuff, I think it's just gonna make more sense to do it this way today. So let's get into sewing the band. This is the long neckline band, and I'm trying to be really careful not to stretch it out as I work with it. This is the band that's kind of going to be going around like this for the square neckline and the sweetheart neckline of the Lennox top. And I'm going to be matching this up with the marking that is on the center front of the pattern piece. And I have marked about 1 inch from the end of the band. Like we talked about before, I marked that 1 inch from the end of the band. And I'm gonna be sewing from that 1 inch mark all the way up with a straight stitch. I am gonna be matching up, I hope that you can see this. The shoulder seam is right here, and there is a notch marking on the band pattern piece, and those should line up really well, like really just right on top of each other. So I'm gonna pin that in place, knowing that that's one of our like anchor points that we have to get to as we're sewing. And I'm gonna do the same thing on the other side. Sherry, getting in the mood for sewing is, you know what, that's hard too. Sometimes you just don't have the mood is not right. And that's okay. So as you can see, I have pinned or clipped the back band onto my neckline, and I'm going to line up the 1 inch mark to the notch on the neckline front. And I'm gonna stop sewing. So I'm gonna stop sewing 1 inch away, and that is gonna mean that I'll have the ability to take that center front panel and sandwich it between there when it comes to that step. So having that little opening will make it so that we can slide in the center front panel. So don't sew all the way from end to end. The other thing that you should know about this sewing on the band is that you want to stretch the band just barely to fit. And I think I'm gonna put a couple more pins in here, clips in here, just because we're just stretching that just a little bit. And I only wanna stretch the band. I do not want to stretch the actual fabric of the bodice. I only want the band to stretch. So with this kind of fabric, it's, you know, a little bit more thick. I definitely want to, otherwise it would result in like some waviness on there. So let's see if there's any questions. I didn't add any stay stitching or tape onto my shoulder seams. I don't normally do that unless I'm working with a really lightweight sweater knit. I have not had an issue with that, especially if I'm serging the seams later. I'm usually okay. There have been a few times where I have done some stay stitching or some tape or even like some twill tape onto the shoulder seams, but I haven't had an issue with that because of the fabric that I'm working with. Okay. Yeah, I think if you wanted to, you could use a lightning stitch on seams like this. I think I'll be okay. If it were me, again, if I had more time, I would be going over that with my serger, but you should use whatever stitch you normally use for whether that's a lightning stitch or a zigzag or a stretch stitch. I would do that for the seams, but for the process here, I think I'm just gonna go ahead with my sewing machine. And keep in mind that those seams that are gonna take more tension or stress, you definitely need to have a stretch stitch in there, but seams that aren't going to be taking that should be okay. Okay, so I'm gonna take this over to my sewing machine and sew on the band. Stopping 1 inch before the end on both sides. All right, what type of rib knit is this? This is just a cotton lycra. It's a cotton lycra from Sitka Fabrics. All right, I have sewn that band, the back neckband, onto the back and front side pieces, and I'm going to press this. You might have had a little blip right there. I was plugging something in. Let me know how the volume is right now. I had to plug in my phone to give it a little bit of a charge. So please go ahead and let me know if you're having any issues with volume while I press my seam that I have done. So I've got my back neckband attached, and I'm just going to press this. So tell me in the comments something that you have sewn recently that has given you a little bit of sewing boost. want to hear from you guys. Remember, the more comments that you leave in today's stream, the more chances that you will have to win one of our fabulous little prizes. And remember that Love Notions is having a site-wide sale where you can get 40% off all of our digital sewing patterns. So I have sewn the neckband onto the back here, and I'm just going to press this so that this is flat and that the seam is kind of facing inward away from the neckline opening. This fabric is taking a press pretty good. All right, let's see how we're doing with our sound here. Oh, the volume increased, or it sounds far away. Oh, the volume is really hard right now because I took my mic out so that I could charge my phone for just a second. Can you believe I'm doing this all on my phone? Crazy. All right. Yeah, I would love to have a video on the fabric, and all of that would be really great. Unfortunately, our technology is limited. All right, so here's where we're at right now. And I'll go switch the volume back on correctly. Hopefully that you can see this. So I have my neck band aligned, and I have stopped with 1 inch, like I didn't complete that line of stitching. I stopped 1 inch away, and then that 1 inch lines up with the marking. Yeah, all right, I'll put the mic back on, and hopefully that gave my phone a little bit of a charge. Test, test, test. Better? Somebody said, what pattern is the dark floral dress behind you? That is the Olympia, which is the same pattern as what I'm wearing right here. This is the Olympia top, and that dress back there is the Olympia dress. All right, is that better? Much better? Good, I'm glad. All right, remember, the more comments that you leave in the chat here, the more chances that you have to win a prize. We've got lots of patterns and lots of great little sewing notions and stuff that I'm going to be sending to people. I'm going to pick 3 winners today. I'm going to be picking 1 winner during the live stream today. So the more chats that you add in, the more comments that you add in, the more chances that you have. And then I will be picking 2 winners after this video posts to be able to get some pattern prizes as well. So my next step is to turn my project inside out so that the wrong side is facing me. And I'm going to be attaching this center panel. You know what? Actually, I'm going to do it this other way. I'm going to have it so that the right sides are facing out on the bodice. And I'm going to take my center panel for this square neckline, and I'm going to align that at the bottom and matching it up at the top. I should hardly need to. It should be very easy to fit in here, no stretching required. All right, so I want to show this to you. This is the part that I think trips up a lot of people. So I'm glad this fabric shows up really well in the light here. Hopefully you guys can see it really good. Okay, so we have like 3 layers here. We have our neckband on top. Then if I flip that up, I have my center panel, and that's going to be lining up right at that marking, that notch marking, okay? And then below the center panel, I have the front like the side front where like the princess seams are. So all of this is going to be kind of sandwiched together. Can you guys see that okay? Okay. Let me know if you need help with anything here. We'll get you a comment. If your comments will help us to clarify anything. But that's what I'm going to be sewing right now. And I'm going to be sewing this center panel here. And I'm going to sandwich this band over that. All right, I'm going to take that to my machine. I'm going to do that on both sides. All right, everybody. Here we have the neck band installed, just about all the way installed. But I wanted to do a little update for you so you could see what this looks like. And I think I am going to go through with my serger and reinforce these seams now that everything is in place, because I don't know, I want this to be finished really nicely on the inside now. I'm really getting excited about sewing this. Let's see what you guys are saying. I need the blue fabric that you're wearing. This is a sweater knit that we got ages ago. It's a really lightweight, what do they call it? Slub? It's not slub. It's like variegated, I think. Oh man, maybe boho? Maybe boho fabrics? I don't have a website for it, but I'll see if I can look at my email and find it. I'll try and comment back. So thank you for all these comments, everybody. I know I wish there was a camera by the sewing machine too, but I think by the time I transfer it all over there, I think we'll be here for ages and ages. So here is what we've got so far. I've got that back neckband installed, and then I kind of sandwiched that center panel with the front side on both of these sides. And I think I am going to go through and serge all the way around the neckline. Let's look at it from the outside, or for the inside. So this is what that looks like. And I think what I'm going to do right now, I'm just going to serge all the way around, just one long big serge. And then I'm going to go through and do some top stitching. But I think because this fabric is really thick and it's a very structured, substantial cotton spandex rib, I am just going to do some top stitching and catch this bottom of the band. I'm just going to catch that right in my top stitching, but I'm just going to top stitch this center front panel, and that's it. Can you guys see that okay? Let me know. Okay, let me see. Oh, thank you for all the comments. Remember, the more comments that you put in, the more chances that you have to win one of our bundle prizes. And remember that you should be shopping Love Notions today. We've got our very rare site-wide sale is happening right now. So if you like patterns like this, use code SEW40 at checkout for a great deal on some patterns to get you excited for spring sewing. So let me go do real quick. I'm gonna go over to my serger. Let me see if I can take you with me. Let me see if I can get this set up here. How's this? Hopefully you guys can see. And let's see, I actually turned off on the serger, I turned off the cutting because with this kind of thicker fabric, I'm a little worried that it might get stuck in there. But we'll see, we'll see. And I'm glad that I sewed it first. That's kind of one of my tips for sure, is to sew it down first and make sure that everything's aligned properly before taking it over to the serger. All right, I apologize if this is really loud. And I'm a little worried that this is gonna be a lot of fabric for my serger to take. So let's see if we can get that in here. I'm gonna lift up my presser, make sure that all gets stuck in there nice and flat. Hopefully that goes over it okay. I might do a couple hand wheels here just so that it doesn't get messed up. There we go. Give me your best serger tips inside of the comments, if you can hear me. I'd love to hear some of your best serger sewing tips. And again, I turned off my cutting knife just because I don't, this fabric is too chunky, I think, to be able to get it to cut very well. Okay, so we've got that serged on. Ooh, that looks nice. And I'm gonna slide over. And I'm going to flip this out. My next stop here is to do the center front panel just to top stitching. And the reason why I want to do that is so that I can catch, let me make sure I've got, you can see. I want to catch this line right here so that it stays down, okay? I did decrease the tension because of the thickness of the fabric, and I think that's helped a lot too. I'm using a straight stitch 4, and again, you should use whatever stitches are right for sewing knits on your machine. I'm gonna back stitch that. Hope you can see me here. Perfect. All right, let me take you back over to my cutting table so that you can see. Okay. Here we go. Did a center front. I hope you can see this. Top stitch the center front, and then I serged the back. Hopefully you can see that, but let me go over and take it to be pressed. Sometimes any of that like waviness, you know, can be kind of pressed a little bit out. And I'm just gonna clip those little extra tails. I'm gonna look at the comments here. Oh, so many comments. Thank you again for commenting. That helps so much in this process. Let's see. Always make sure no fabric is caught underneath whatever you're serging. That is so true. I'm seeing a lot of suggestions for sewing machines here. That's fun. We saw so many cool machines at Sew Expo this year. That was a really fun place to kind of see them all together. I definitely have my favorites. I am a baby lock person for sure. But I know a lot of people have some other preferences, and I think you should just work with whatever feels good to you. Okay. Okay. Here we go. I can't wait to put this on. All right, so we still have our sleeves to go and then the bottom hem band to go, but we're about 4 minutes away from ending. Let's see if we can quickly, let's see. I think I might just finish this on my own today. Maybe I'll film it and then post it later. But I don't want to take much more than an hour today because I know that everybody has places to go. But I think the most complicated part of sewing the Lennox is this neckline. So I hope that was a good view for you so that you could see what the Lennox neckline looks like. Get those last minute comments in here. I want to be sure to let me go through and see our comments and see if we have more questions. Carrie says, any thoughts about adding home decor patterns, curtains, or shades? No. So much fabric. It's very specific, and I think that for small businesses like us, it's called niching down. Like, we have a specific range. I think that's definitely a hole in the market. Maybe you should make some. I don't think that's for us right now, but you know what? I'll never say never. Okay. Mimi says, square necklines are hard for me, but this one looks very doable. It really is. It's just a matter of sandwiching those seams together. So I think that's going to be great. Let's see. Yeah, thank you. So, what stitch am I using on the machine? I am just using, I would do a stretch stitch for most knit patterns. If it's places that's not taking a lot of tension, you can usually get away with doing, you know, a straight, I guess, but almost always I do a straight stitch and then I go over it with a serger. So that's kind of what my process was here. Let's see. The top looks great so far. Thanks, Jody. Yay. I'm glad that you guys are liking this. Let's see. You know what? Somebody said, I wish I could wear yellow in any form. It looks awful on me. I'm a little nervous. Like, does this color look okay on me? I feel like with the blue, it's like a nice contrast right now, but I am a little bit nervous about, is this yellow going to look right on me, right? I don't know. We'll see. Any plans for sewing for men's swim trunks? Not that I am aware of, but I know men's bottoms are really, definitely people are wanting some more men's bottoms, so that's cool. Good to know. Seeing you make the Lennox top, it gets me excited to start sewing my pattern. Good, I'm glad, Joanne, I'm really glad. Ugh, Lynn says, open up the serger machine and clean after every project, makes your serger run smoothly. You're not allowed to look at the inside of my serger. Okay? Let's just say that. An old Elna, Brenda has an old Elna serger, 28 years old. It is a beast, but I need to slow down or hand crank over her seams. And you know what? I bet I could have forced it through, but on the live, I get a little nervous. Let's see. Oh, you wish I had a beautiful room like that. It is a joy to sew in here. The only problem with this room is that it's cold. It's so cold in here. So I'm freezing right now. Let's see. Thank you for all of these comments. Wow. Remember, the more comments that you leave, the more chances that you'll get to be picked for one of our prizes. I'm so glad that you guys have been here today with me. This is very energizing for me. I know right now we have our big site-wide sale where you can get 40% off all of your sewing patterns. Remember to use code SEW40. I like doing these lives. It's casual, easy. It's just reminding us about how fun it is to sew. How satisfying that we took a piece of paper and a little bit of fabric and we made something that looks so cute and is going to actually be wearable for years and years to come. So that's one of the reasons why we're doing these lives, is because it's fun to get re-energized when it comes to sewing. And I hope that means that after the live, you're gonna go into your sewing pattern library and print something out or find something that makes you excited to sew. We need more of that right now, okay? All right, so I'm gonna go through and pick a comment right now to be a winner. So get any last comments in, and let's get a winner. And for those of you who are watching through after this video has posted, you should be able to see all of the live comments and everything after a while, but you can make a comment on the actual video post. And then tomorrow and Thursday and Friday of this week, we're going to be doing another live sewing session where we do the Caprice skirt. So maybe I'll try on so you can see what we ended up with in our spring capsule sewing. So thank you so much for joining us. We've got more prizes and giveaways to come. I can't wait to see what you guys make. Whenever you make something, make sure that you tag Love Notions so that we can get excited with you. And especially as we go into a new season, love being able to create fun new things and get excited about what we can actually make with our own two hands. It's pretty amazing. So here I go. Let's see who's gonna win. And would you guys please tag the person who wins so that they know right away. That person is going to email Tessa@lovenotions.com and say, hey, I'm the winner. And we're gonna get you set up with a pattern of your choice to get a print pattern with a little bundle. If you live outside of the United States, that's great. We'll still be able to give you a giveaway. The beauty of digital without tariffs or taxes or fees. So we'll make sure that we get some winners for everybody here. Okay, let me see. I'm just going all over the place here. All right, Pat Backum, B-A-U-C-O-M, at Pat Backum, at B-A-U-C-O-M. You are today's winner. You will get to contact me, Tessa@lovenotions.com, and tell me what print pattern you would like sent to you, or if you would prefer a digital pattern, we can get one set for you as well. Thank you guys so much for joining in. Make sure that you tag Pat Backum in the comments here so that that person knows that they won. Congratulations to Pat, and we will absolutely be meeting again. I just saw a comment, when is the next live event? We're gonna be meeting tomorrow and Friday. I think we'll probably continue to do it around the 9:30, 10 time frame. Leave a comment here right now. What's better for you, 9:30 or 10? That's Central Time. and let's see what we end up with. Either 9:30 or 10 tomorrow. Make sure that you follow the playlist, or make sure that you've got that link for the playlist. You can go back and see all of the videos from this week's lives. And please make sure, go to lovenotions.com and use code SEW40 at checkout. Grab the Olympia, grab the Lennox, grab the Caprice, grab a clef coat or a course that will help you and hold your hand through every step of the way. Grab a print pattern. There's lots and lots and lots to choose from to get you excited about some spring sewing. All right, so I'm looking, looks like 10. 10 seems like the best. I'm seeing lots of 10. Awesome. I'm so glad that you were here today. Thank you for joining us at Love Notions. Bye.